Welcome to Beyond the Boundary.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Boundary and Across the Line production, where sport, culture, and media don't just intersect, they shape what's next. And in a world full of aggregators, we architects. Now, our guest today is the only Indian TV journalist to have interviewed Serena and Venus Williams together, the editorial mind behind India's first regional sports channel in Tamil, the content lead for an IPL franchise that won the title in its debut season, and currently sports editor at First Sport. First Post. I'm going to say that again. And currently sports editor at First Post. And before all of that, she was a professional tennis player. Rupha Ramani, welcome to Beyond the Boundary. It's so good to be on the show.
Hi, for a minute there, I was wondering who is this person. I mean, this is so good to be true, but that's so sweet, guys. Thank you so much. I don't think I would have given myself that sort of an introduction ever. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Aashu, is what I'm been told to call you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
No,
And
of course.
honestly, the list can go on, right? Nat's mentioned a portion of it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just a bit of a trailer for everyone. We're just getting into the actual movie once we start talking to you, because you've done some incredible things in your life, and your story, when we were talking about you, right? When we obviously were low key stalking you to see everything that you've done in your life. There was there, there was so much to unpack, and it was like, for us, it was about bringing out the human side of your story, but also talking about that human side of the story with your career, right? I mean, there's so many things that you have faced, both from an athlete perspective and then sort of transitioning into the journalism space. So there's so much to talk about. And I guess we'll just kick off. Like, when you were playing professional tennis, right? Was journalism even on the radar? So, for example, or was it just a plan to be completely an athlete?
Plan was to be an athlete, Natasha. I wanted to be the next best thing to have happened to Indian tennis. That was the clear plan. Clearly, it didn't work out. Thank God it didn't. Um, but yeah, I don't think journalism was on the radar at all. I don't know if I mean, I loved tennis. I wasn't sure, now that now that you've asked me this, I wasn't sure if I loved the grind so much. I thought we had to do so much to just like register something out there, right? Just make a dent in our own sort of performances is what I would think at this point. But I liked it. I liked the wins. I didn't like the losses. But no, I never thought that I would get to the other side. Not at all. Not at all.
Hey, you said something in there that kind of stood out for me. You said, thank God it didn't work out.
Oh,
I need to ask you.
we need to deep dive into that.
Yeah.
look, I love what I'm doing. I'm love what I'm doing now, and I don't think I ever would have pictured a life or a journey so different, so rich in some ways, and varied, and all encompassing as what I've kind of experienced. I think, I mean, of course, look, being a sports person at the and reaching the best levels of the game that you possibly can, nothing beats that, right? I mean, nothing beats that feeling, I'm sure. But I think this is what I was meant to do. In some ways, I think this is what I was meant to do, and I know it. I know it that I don't think anything else would have given me that sense of satisfaction, that sense of, oh my God, another happy day. I don't think. Yeah, probably that's why.
Hey,
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
love
And
that.
honestly, you
Mm.
own it, right? So good on you. Good on you. Seriously. Well, this brings us to our
Yeah,
next
have
question,
to.
right? Yeah. So at what point did you decide, okay, you know what? Sport is still the world I want to be in, but from the other side, which is the mic.
Okay, so as a kid, I used to we watched a lot of sport. We watched a lot of news at home. Obviously, right? I mean, we are one of those South Indian families who love consuming. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you know what I mean. We have to go
Represent.
to the world. Let's do this also. Let's. I mean, we have to do everything. We have to be involved in everything. We have to. It was one of those households, and I'm so thankful for that. By the way, this is not in any way a complaint or a no. I mean, I'm so happy. My parents, especially my mom, like I think put me through to different activities. My dad, of course, got me into sport for sure, full time. I have to say that. But they also the sort who, the newspapers come in, you have to get up in the morning, read the papers, see what's happening from front to back. So, and obviously, there was some sort of weird synergy where I'm watching news and I'm seeing those news, the presenters reading the news, and I'm like, oh, what would that be like? And I would read the newspaper, and then I loved writing, I loved talking to people. So, at some point I thought, okay, maybe, and I have to say, when you grow up watching people like Rajdeep Sardesai and Barkha Dutt, obviously there were no. I mean, I look. I think in India, you're looking at these people, and I was a kid still, and I'm like, oh God, it'll be great. It'll be great to be in the news. It'll be great to be a journalist, and it's just one of those things that happened. And obviously, I was always passionate about sports. I think even when I got through to my first job in CNN News 18, back then, CNN IBN, I was like, when they asked me what would you want to do, I was sports, of course, sports. There's nothing else that I could ever be as passionate about um, as sports. So I think it was just one of those things that kind of just festered when you were a kid, and then you just sort of give it some shape, and then you say, okay, nothing else catches my fancy, so let me just pursue journalism. Then why not? Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
I literally, when you were talking about you picking up a newspaper and reading it, like I wish I could be a fly on that wall just to see how you started off and what things you would be reading off, and just seeing your mom and dad, because I can picture like a South Indian household where a mom and dad are just walking past their kid reading a newspaper, like trying to be an anchor. So do you have a core memory from that the first time you decided to read out loud, or the first, I don't know, segment that you read off the newspaper? Do you have any sort of memory attached to that?
The only sort of so memory is also, it takes you physically to that place, and you picture yourself. You're seeing yourself from outside, right? So the memory I have. So we had this house where I think, God, why am I not so? It's not very very clear, but we had this house where there was this. So the newspaper would be dropped into this portion which was like a corridor outside, but it was also like a balcony, and the
Yeah.
newspaper. And I had to wake up before because I had to get to it first. There was no way once it went to my dad, I would get it soon. So I had to get to it first. So I remember running to that and just like, and it's all rolled up, right? And just like taking it. And so that's the big, like, maybe that was the most challenging part, not the reading, the getting the newspaper part, probably. Who knows? I mean, that memory is stuck in, like, that vision is there of me running to get that newspaper. I think that's what is there more than the reading itself. So you can imagine. You can imagine, you can imagine what I would have felt at that point. But I think that's what I don't know. I don't remember reading much. I do remember writing a lot because I used to write a lot of poetry and things like that when I was a kid. I still have the book, by the way. I still
No
have it.
way.
I still have it.
Oh,
I'm a
That should have
hoarder.
been part of the episode, Roops.
No, Ashu. I don't know where it is over here, but it's somewhere. But it's there. It's there. Uh, but yeah, I mean, all of that was like I loved reading a lot. I loved just knowing things about things,
mm.
um,
So
writing, and
always a curious little bunny.
Yes,
yeah, yeah, I
Love
was.
that.
pretty
I
much.
was.
And weren't you the like best broadcast student of the year in the Asian College of Journalism?
Yeah,
Am I getting
yeah.
that right?
Yes, you are getting that. There were two of us um, who topped that year from broadcast because there were two groups, and obviously, yeah, that was. I didn't expect it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I mean, though, if you ask all my teammates, if you teammates, I mean, my classmates, um,
Always a sports person.
yeah, I know, right? But if you ask them, even today, they'd be like, oh, Rupa was that person who would like sit in the front row and keep asking extra questions and ruin the lunch break, ruin the break that we would have in between classes or in between sessions. Yes, I was horrible. I was always the front bencher. So and I think I don't know. I liked the whole process. I liked the whole process of doing those shows that we did. We used to get guests. We got actually very good. We used to go and also who would people would trust a student, right? Yeah, yeah, we'll come for your show. What are we going to say that's going to really make any? I mean, where is it going to go? So we had like Kanimuri coming in. We had cricketers coming in. I used to get them, and I was like, yeah, 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 we'll come. We'll come to your studio. No problem. No stress. I love that process. I love the process of just doing something also because there's no consequence, right? There's no consequence and there's no pressure in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yeah.
So college years were fun. It was tiring. It was so many sleepless nights because we had to edit stuff for a show the next day and it was just a year, but it felt like we did so much in that 1 year. And I still, if you ask me now, what are the things that kind of help me mold myself professionally, I have to talk about the time that I spent in ACJ for sure because this we had a BBC trainer, Amanda Harper. I'm still in touch with her. She used to call me Big Bird. I wonder
Got
why. But but she there's something that she said that I still carry with me. She's like, if your mom says I love you, double check it. So you cannot, it's always, you have to have a second source. You cannot believe any news or anything that you hear the first time. There's got to be a second layer to it. And you can't take anything, no matter what or where it's from, to be true. So yeah, I mean, that year was, and I made a lot of friends for life from that
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was a pivotal sort of a moment in my journey for sure.
I just want to do like a follow up on that because the first thing you told me when you started talking about your journey, and now I'm thinking about a lot of people, a lot of young, women and men trying to get into journalism and getting into that space where it can be very competitive in India, right? Um, just if you had to give them a bit of advice getting into this, let's say they're starting off, or even those who want to get into ACJ, for example, what are some, what are your 3 points of advice that you'd like to give to the next generation?
Nice one.
Yeah.
Look,
That's a
the
great
one thing
question.
has to be you've got to be extremely passionate about news, about and I'm not saying, of course, everyone has a specialization, right? Whether it's business, whether it's politics, whether it's economics, whether it's social strata stories connected with the with social messaging, whatever it may be. The point is you've got to be really passionate about news, about knowing what's happening around you, being aware, and not just about what only interests you or what you would like to specialize in. So one is, of course, that you got to stay in it, stay aware. The other thing is be prepared to know every little thing about your field. You might want to be an anchor. You got to know how a camera works. You've got to know how a PCR functions. Who's the boss there? What are the different roles that different people function there? So obviously this is this thinking, I know you'll say this is after you get in, but you've got to hone that somehow because a lot of people think because we're told to say we're told to be a master of one and not jack of all trades, but that is such a fallacy, and that is you shouldn't. I think you should know a little bit about everything, and that starts way before you even get in and you start putting your hands on stuff. So the thinking of not just knowing one thing about one thing but knowing something about everything, I think it's a serious misconception that we've all been fed with, that you can't be a jack of all trades. So I think that notion, break that notion, because because you never know. And in the medium that is fast changing, fast evolving, you've got to be prepared to do something that you haven't done before, to get to something that you want to do. So I think keep an open mind when it comes to learning skills that's connected to journalism. So that's two. The third thing is, uh I would say just keep practicing, right? Keep honing your skills every day. If it is, for example, if it is that you want to be a reporter, what can you report on today, or what can you do to sharpen that skill of yours? Go talk to people, a report on. You need to know what are the basic skill sets. Any for any journalist, you got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to get to know the other person, be a good listener, problem solving. These are things that you can look at sharpening every day. Like, even you don't have to be in a college or be in a school or apply to hone these skills, which are again something that's going to help you, right? I mean, off the top of my head, I think this is what I would l- have loved someone to tell me, right? So because it doesn't you learning and you getting out there and getting that first journalism gig doesn't start at the college once you enroll. It starts way before, and a lot of it is, yes, subconscious. I love making friends. I love getting to know people. Um, you know, learning new stories about everyone I met. So I think that was some subconscious, but there are some that you can do consciously. It's okay. I mean, no one is born to be a journalist. You can do that by consciously trying to hone a lot of things that comes with being a journalist.
I love that. It's like you get your hard skills sorted out, but don't forget about your soft skills. So that's
Like,
yeah, I love that.
yeah.
I know Aashu was excited about the next question, which involved the Williams sisters. So please, you go for it. This is yours.
Also, it's too early to cry, okay? You can't be making us emotional ropes.
Not gonna make. Come on, Ashu.
Well, interviewing Serena and Venus, like, that's not something that happens every day. That's not a small thing. And that doesn't happen with everyone, right? So, if, like, especially at the stage that you were in your career, like, what did that moment feel like?
Firstly, it was great that my sports editor at that point, because I was still what I was 23, I was 24, I think, or 25. Yeah, one of those years, and
Still look it,
it
by
was
the way.
no Ashu, no Ashu. Nice segue, uh, but yeah, it was nice. That's also because I was into tennis, and obviously I was reporting a lot of I was reporting a lot on tennis. I was following a lot of these stories. I was constantly in touch with Sania Mirza and her family, Leander, Mahesh, all the guys who were like at the peak at that point. So tennis was pretty much my beat, and I kind of sort of pushed myself into that. So when the Bangalore Open happened and when it came to India, obviously, my sports editor was like, "Okay, go." I don't think Venus and Serena interview was on the cards then. Probably that's probably another reason, because it's a big interview and anyone, obviously the most senior person would do that, right? I mean, that's how it works. The newbies are the ones who do the night shifts, who and continuously so. I've done weeks, endless weeks of night shift, logging tapes, ingesting footage for others and for everyone else, the seniors, helping everybody on the desk, of course doing my story as well, um archiving footage, like all of this, right? And also working through holidays, because obviously I'm the youngest single person on the desk, so obviously working through holidays. That's how it is. That's how a lot of places have been in the past, and that's also because I guess that's how it was as for them as well when they started out. So Venus and Serena was not on the cards, is what I vaguely remember. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna go and cover Bangalore Open. I'm so excited, and I go, and then suddenly they're like, oh, we want to give only one interview, and it's only to CNN, and it's only to you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, this is happening. And I remember my editors like, you want to share the questions that you plan? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I had a few questions and I shared. It's like, yeah, this is fine. Just be at ease. And he was also very sweet. He's like, be at ease. Just don't worry too much. Just it'll happen. It'll be fine. So I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I was extremely intimidated by Serena. Extremely. Like, I don't think people scare me easily, and I don't think I get scared easily. when she entered the room and her like game face,
Yeah.
I can just imagine what her game face would be. Like
Right.
you,
Yeah.
you will shit in your pants if you were to face her on court.
Yeah.
Was she was and she enters, and then of course Venus has to be the yin to her yang.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's like, she was like, she's kind of diffusing what clearly is only all built up by me, clearly. So she's doing her best to, you know, kind of play off that and cut through that. And then, and the best moment I remember from that interview was when I did a rapid, I did something, I said, how well do you know each other? So I asked some questions, and and they themselves sort of took a while to remember and answer, and there was so much of laughter, and when they laugh, the sisters, they're like in it and they're like enjoying it. And when that happened, I was like, oh, phew, yeah, I got them to laugh. That's fine. Now I'm done. The interview is over. Nailed it.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm happy now. I got them to laugh. I got them to chill. I got them to have fun. My
Yeah.
job's
Yeah.
done. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is the best. It's still date one of the best moments I've ever had as a journalist for sure.
Love that for you. That's great.
Iconic. I don't even know if you realize how iconic that moment is. Like, that's insane.
Literally.
And you can picture the stark contrast of both the sisters, right? Like you mentioned, like one has that intimidating sort of aura,
Yeah.
respectfully, and then the other is obviously great in her own right, but a much more easy to approach sort of
Sure.
vibe, But
But I
like
like
that,
that, that now that you mentioned Natasha, at that point, I was like, oh my God. I remember I was like, oh my God, Serena, cut me some slack, like make it easy for me. But then now, after all these years have passed, I realize why you've got to be that way, right? And after a point, it becomes a part of you, right? Because as women in this industry, no matter which role you are playing, no matter which part, whether it's on court, off court, connected with the sport, whatever it is, you have to steel yourself up, right? You have to be steel. Um, so kudos, and I get that. I get that now. I get why she was so impervious, and so admirable. And oh God, and I felt so overdressed because I'm so and proper, and they're coming in their workout gear and like, yeah, let's do this. And I'm overdressed, and you hate being the overdressed person in a party, in a gathering, and you're like, oh God, why didn't you tell me the dress code, sisters?
Oh my God. Well, I don't believe in ever being overdressed. But yeah, I mean, that's more personal, right? Um, but honestly, right, like you hold a fellowship from Pointer Institute. I got it right this time. Okay. One of the most respected like journalism institutions, right? And without getting into the specifics of it, what does that recognition, that kind of, honor mean to you in the context of a career that started on a tennis court?
Look, I think it's I do believe that after a certain point, and I guess you don't realize this till years have gone, and till till you accumulate a lot of those moments. And I mean, I know it's not. I'm making it sound too simple, and I know it's not. A lot of people do the years, and just as diligently so, but a lot of things don't sort of come together as nicely as it did for me. And I don't know why I'm hesitating even saying this. I feel like that's another thing that I do. I kind of undercut a lot of the things that has happened, and a lot of a lot of the hurdles that I have crossed, or a lot of the moments that I have accrued. And then and this is actually, I met someone very interesting recently, and that's why I am saying this, because this is something she said. The more you make these moments and the more you sort of do it, you end up manifesting and getting those sort of people around you. And it just happens.
Absolutely.
The more you move into your profession and the more you give to it and the more you generate that sort of an energy, you kind of end up getting more of that along your way.
100%.
Yeah, it sounds simplistic. It's not.
It's
But
not.
I think I'm sort of I believe in that, and I think this was that, right? The more you further yourself, the more you give yourself to that cause, to your passionate project, I think the more of such stuff happens, and that's how best I could describe this year.
Well,
No,
that's beautifully put. Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
there's a little bit of goosebumps there. I won't lie. No, but like
Seriously.
it's true, and I don't want to jump into that segment because that's going to be spoken of later. But I feel like this is the right moment now. Uh, the one thing that you and I have in common is doing the ICC 100% Future Leaders program, and I'll just quickly dive into that. Where you
Right.
mentioned about
Because I'm the
you
only
mentioned
unqualified one here. I mean, I can.
So
no, not
stick
at all.
around.
Jokes.
So during that program, because you mentioned manifestation, right? And I'll try and find that to show it to you guys later. Belinda made us do this exercise where we had to write letters to ourselves. 1 month from now, 3 months from now, or 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, something like that. It was spaced out. And she would post it to us at that 1 month mark or 3 month mark, right? And she said, just write a letter to yourself of what you'd want to be doing at that particular mark. And at that moment, you're writing whatever comes to your mind. And I remember clearly writing at the 6 month mark that I would like to venture into broadcast or commentating or something along those lines, just to see, just to give it a shot, because I feel like I might be good at it because I know the game, and sort of make it like a passive income, right? That's the simple thing that I wrote to myself. I wrote, hi, hope you're venturing into something like this, right? And 6 months later, the stuff with GeoStar happens. And it came out of nowhere. I did not apply for anything. I wasn't even reaching out. I did do a couple of segments with the Royals that I was working
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I ventured out to do. But like you said, I think it was there somewhere at the back of my mind. The people I was meeting, the people I was talking to. And that what you said actually gave me goosebumps, because then I thought about that moment, because I remember texting Belinda going like, this is happening, and she's like, this is crazy, like that it's actually like happening for you. So power of manifestation, like after that moment, I
Yeah.
truly believe in it. Like I was skeptical because you write things, you do things, and you never really think about the small things that actually happen in your life because of that. So yeah, no, the power of manifestation is
Love it.
insane.
Yeah.
Wow,
Love it. I remember
that is incredible to hear,
Yeah.
Natasha. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I did the ICC program. When I got picked for it, I had completely different goal. I had a completely different goal. I remember what I had said also, and I remember, and I got the kind of mentor whom I want in the profession that I wanted to pursue, and it's nothing close to what I'm doing now. That's exactly what I mean. You never know. Sometimes you have to give that little bit of room for
Yeah.
chance,
Yeah.
right? You. That's why I feel like, okay, fine. That's what I tell people. Do not. I mean, it's nice to have an end goal, right? It's nice to say, hey, I want to be the face of whatever. I want to, come on TV. I want to be this producer who. But sometimes life throws you an option, and if you choose to take it, and if something happens, you never know. You might just realize your biggest strength, which you probably never had all along.
Yeah.
So yes, while all of this, and which is right, which is exactly what I was saying, while all of this is great, and manifestation is important for you to project your what you want to do,
Yeah.
leave some room to chance. You never know, it could just surprise you completely and just change you and your career path entirely.
Yeah.
I
No.
remember Nats texting me and she's like, listen, I got some tips and tricks from BC, and I want you to try it. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, walk me through it. And then obviously she told me about her letter. And then when Geo happened, I was already in Mumbai, right? And she reached out and she was like, I'm coming because I got the gig. And I was like, what? No way. Like, how did that happen? And she's like, literally, right? I happened to write it. And well, here I am. And I was like, yeah, well,
Wow.
it's meant to be, right? Um, so that was really interesting. And I'm glad that happened for her, most importantly. But yeah, so this one's a special one because I really, really, really want to know about this. So, if I'm not mistaken, you covered the 2011 match fixing scandal.
It was 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
13. Okay, okay. Well, my bad then. Sorry. But there were like 30 stories you covered, if I'm not mistaken. Again, correct me if
Oh,
I'm wrong, please.
I've lost. I don't have count, to be honest.
Okay,
But I
okay.
do remember the whole match fixing scandal was. I mean, obviously, it was not great for the sport, but but it was great for us because and there was so many stories that came out of it, and that was I keep telling people even now, that was the best. That was my best reporting year, one of my best reporting years because
Hey, we love
uh
it.
yeah, because people were you I had built so much of trust and so many contacts connected to cricket at that point. People were just messaging me information, they were calling me and they were telling me stuff, and I was just breaking all of this news. I hate that term though now, breaking news, but that's what it was back then, and I was doing that, and it was so good. I was on top of that story, and I kind of saw it through till when it sort of reached its
Yeah,
conclusion, and of course the teams were suspended and all of that happened. But I saw it through, and obviously, I mean, one of the worst things that could have happened, and
yeah, exactly.
not take away from that and the seriousness of it, but it gave all of us so much to do and so much to develop and work on, and because it's not just about getting the stories, it's about how you're saying those stories and what's the messaging and how you're putting it across, and that was also important. um huge life lesson sort of a moment in terms of how to get not just get the news and not just gather the news, but how to put it across and what are you saying, and what are you what's the message you're carrying and how are you putting
Yeah,
it across, right? What are you getting across? I think that was very important, and yeah, that was a very huge learning curve for me that year, for sure.
yeah. And given
And
how much you love the sport and how personal it is to you, I'm sure it's a story that like shook you at its core, if so to say.
No, obviously it was shocking, and
Yeah.
but that's the thing when you get into this sport, and which is what's happened when you get into this profession. A lot of things don't surprise you anymore after a point. Not just because you think, oh, this can happen. No, it's because you're so insulated and you're so programmed to kick in and start working. You don't have time to think and process and say, oh my god, how did this happen? And that's for every profession, that's for every beat in journalism. Whether when you look at war, journalists who cover war, deaths, you can't get affected by deaths and casualties anymore. Not to say that takes away from how grave the story is.
But
It's
you're
just that we're
numb
so
to it.
insulated and so um I won't say numb. I think numb has a very negative connotation to it. I think we're just so insulated and so programmed to immediately get out of reacting within and reacting outside and get the story out without showing but by being objective and not showing your personal bias or your personal feelings into it, not bring that and get the viewer to understand the different sides to what's happening. I think that's why a lot of these things, so that's why when you say it was shocking, I don't remember processing that or reacting inside or having those moments where I kind of had conversations to process why this has happened. I don't think I had those moments back then. I think things were moving so fast and you had to stay on top of it constantly, and you couldn't rest, you couldn't pause to let things settle or whatever. So I guess that's why I don't remember what I felt when you're saying how shocked were you. I'm not able to sort of picture
Process
that
it
memory
right now.
associated. But yeah.
Yeah.
And I think at the core of it all, it also comes down to in those moments when it's about who gets the story out first or how many eyeballs you can reach to maintain that ethical journalism, to say the least, which I feel like sometimes there's that gray line, right? When you're
Right.
when you have so many news outlets reporting on the same things and you're trying to get people to come to your channel or trying to get people to your post, um, that line often gets blurry. So that's something that I guess anyone who's getting into this space needs to keep in mind, that, that's your core sort of thing that you need to follow.
Absolutely. I mean, don't do something that you can't go to bed knowing that you
Mm.
did.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
So even when, it's a little silly though, because I still feel a lot of people would say, okay, if you're getting an exclusive, you will go and get an exclusive and that's it. People will come to know when it's out. But I remember I actually even tell some of my friends who I was very close to on the field saying, listen, I've got this. It's going to be out. So why don't you try? And, but this is what's going to happen. Like, give them a heads up. I've done that.
Mm.
I've actually done that.
Mm.
You don't need to. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not saying you need to be a good Samaritan. It's not that. But don't do things that would compromise your own um, consciousness,
Mm.
your own person. And I can say that I think that's one of the things that I'm most proud of at a time when there was so much of that happening, because Arnab had just exploded on news television, and I think he had that thing that it kind of permeated all of us in the industry. So that pressure of getting something different, breaking it first, I mean, that was there, and I lived through it. I lived through that phase where Indian news television transformed. And it's not easy. It's not easy, especially when your boss is sitting on you and is asking what's happening. And I'm not saying this from personal experience. I'm talking about people who worked at far more um, high pressure beats, right? I think, yeah, as long as you say, okay, would I be happy would I be able to sleep with myself if I did something? The answer is no, you won't do it. Not to say that, I mean, again, but that's the thing. It's about how you weigh your consciousness, right? I mean, I would never, I think that's one that I repeat, that's one thing that I was super proud of. And it's not easy, especially when you're a woman uh covering cricket. Yeah, I mean, I don't want
That's
to go into the
like
details of that.
say less, Roops.
Yeah, I mean, I used to get so shocked earlier about just the way people perceive women reporters, especially the ones who are new. And that goes for your people in press boxes, to cricketers themselves, to people connected to cricket teams. You have to somehow navigate it. And it requires a lot of maturity and a lot of presence of mind to be able to do it. Because you can't compromise the person you are, and you don't jeopardize what you can be. So a lot of that, I mean, I don't want to go into details, but a lot of it it's not easy. It's not easy. Um, Managing a lot of that. So I think for us it's a lot of complex layers when it comes to women in this field. After ethics, you have any other layers which we need to negate and work around to try and be there and still be there at the top of your game.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that resonates for sure. And I get you saying, I don't want to get into it, but we all know, we've all felt different aspects of it throughout our lives. Um, yeah, I think every every woman who's going to be watching this is just nodding along, like, yep.
Yeah.
You're saying, I know what
Talking
you're
about.
saying.
Like, how do you in the middle of the or right after an interview, how do you say no to an advance or whatever? How do you say it so that they know what you mean,
Yeah.
but they're not offended?
Don't get offended.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at you, man. Both of you are like in sync.
Yeah, because and I'll tell you what this is. A lot of times, and I see a lot of my friends, a few of my guy friends saying, "How do you put up with this? You should just say, get lost." I said, no, you can't say get lost because some relationships are also important to maintain. So how do you do it, and how do you do it smartly to know you're not interested, but keep that relationship going for whatever it is that you need it for, which is professional, right? And it's an art. It's definitely an art.
Yeah,
Does it
the
feel
the, the
conflicting though?
number of
I'm asking both of you at this point. Does it
What is
feel,
Ashu?
no, I'm just saying, does it feel conflicting in some ways?
Natasha, go first.
No, I was just saying that based on what you said, the number of fake boyfriends I've had is incredible just to just to navigate this crap. Um, it's, I mean, conflicting, yes, because at some point you're like, you want to stand up for everything you believe in, right? And everything that you want to be able to also make sure the next woman doesn't go through something like that, right? Or put them in their place. But you need to choose your battles. At the end of the day, it's
Totally.
like who, like you mentioned, it's not sacrificing on your core beliefs, but also not sacrificing who you could be because of this small conversation that could have happened in any other way, for example.
And I tell you what, I feel it just gets a little better the older you get. I feel like now I can just say it
Mm.
without fearing the consequences. Should we fear consequences when we're younger? Ideally, no, but then the world doesn't work like that, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess the fear goes out once you have age on your side. And I guess what I'm also saying is that once people have seen you for so many years,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
thought.
they won't. Yeah, nobody messes with you then.
Yeah.
That's a thought worth
Yeah.
pondering
That's true.
over, Roots. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Nats. I know Nats is very
And also, like, sorry, just to add to that.
all
Sorry, just
good.
to add to that, it's also like just to put it out there. It's it's important to also support your women in the field. So making sure you're able to actually voice it to another female in your space because you don't want to be isolated either, right? So if you know, if anyone who's watched, whenever people watch this, that they know that they can reach out to women in the field, knowing that there's a safe space. So just creating that safe space, I feel like is so important.
And I've done that. I've done that to a few. I've had these conversations, and I'm so happy I do because I know how they are feeling.
Mm.
They're feeling like, oh my god, am I not am I not abrasive enough? Should I be more abrasive? Am I not? And I tell them, it's okay. You
Yeah.
be what you are comfortable to be.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad for laughing it off and saying, hey, no, instead of being stern. If that's what works for you, and if that's what makes you feel fine at that point, it is okay. No judgment. No judgment on how you're deflecting any of this.
Yeah,
Because it's not something that should happen. And when it does, so no judgment on how you deal with it at all.
absolutely.
And I think that and this friend, this young friend of mine, I think she wanted to hear that. And I'm so happy I could tell her that.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Well, I know this one's close to Nats's heart because, now that she's working with Star, um, this is something I'll just leave the floor to her and she can ask you.
Oh,
You
you
thought
thought
that
that
was
was
it?
it? Well, we hate to break it to you, but not really. There's going to be a part two, and that's going to be released next week. We're so excited for you to actually hear all of her thoughts and advice, I guess, to some extent,
Of
on the
course.
episode. So stay tuned. If you want to know more, follow us on acrosstheline.com, visit the website, follow us on social media, follow Across the Line on social media, And remember, in a world full of aggregators,
Be architects.
see you next week. Stay
See
tuned.
ya.